Many times I tried resigning. Every year, every September, because I've worked so hard from January to August, burn out na ako. And then, pag September, nagbe-breakdown na ako. Gusto ko nang mag-resign. Until I grew up, I just stopped saying I want to resign.
Charo, how are you?
Good, good.
I have a question kasi
Yes.
napakaganda ng taste mo sa pelikula. And
Oh,
I think
thank
that's
you.
obvious in the projects that you've been involved in, whether that's Himala or Oro Plata Mata. I want to know, like, what's your favorite film in the whole world?
In the whole world.
Yeah.
Ang dami, mahirap eh. You know, as a child, as a young girl, I was in my teen years, I fell in love with the movie An Affair to Remember
Okay.
of Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr. And that makes me a romantic at heart.
Why did you like that film?
Outside of, the beautiful performances of Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr, it was this sense of longing for each other, of wanting to see each other again, but destiny got in the way. I don't know. There's something very romantic about it. There's also a bit of tragedy in it, So it's the complexities of life. Sometimes what you think, what's meant to be, what's meant to be doesn't happen. And me as a viewer, I try to imagine what could have been. So, yeah.
Nice. How does being a romantic inform the way you navigate life?
It's a beautiful feeling of going through the experience of discovering things, just like falling in love, just like discovering the beauty in another person. And so there's always this sense of curiosity, this sense of wanting to know the person, of discovering what's beautiful about the person. And I think that's how I navigate life. I always want to discover new stuff. I'm not afraid to take risks. I go for adventures, and the journey is the one that excites me. And I look at the lessons learned after.
Nice.
Yeah.
I read a profile about you where you said na you would wait outside the studio gates of ABS
Yes.
and just watch out for like your favorite stars and your idols.
Yes.
Can I know, how did you grow up watching ABS-CBN, and who were those idols that you were na inaabangan mo?
Ang mga idols na inaabangan ko, Guy and Pip. I was really an avid fan of Nora Honor and Tears Across the Third, and I didn't care about any other love team but Guy and Pip. I used to collect their photographs, read everything about them. I would buy comics from the sari-sari store, even if our father would apprehend us about reading comics and all that stuff, no. But I would always listen also to the radio programs of my favorite stars and imagine a world where these two people are so in love.
Napaka-romantic!
Kinikilig ako. Yeah. When I see a chemistry between an actress and an actor, I already imagine all the beautiful things in life. Yeah. There's this sense of kilig. I start feeling giddy. I start imagining, ano ba ako? Si Snow White ba ako at si Cinderella? I don't know. This thing of, finally meeting your Prince Charming. Yeah.
Okay.
Oo.
What do you think about this idea of kilig in Filipino culture? Especially in film, I feel like it's such an important ingredient or factor when it comes to the chemistry between actors, the plot, kailangan may konting kilig, may konting
Yes.
hugot. How have you made sense of that in your career?
Most of the star cinema movies are romantic comedies. And I think, modesty aside, star cinema portrayed romance the best, the star cinema movies. The way we pair actors also, we kind of see chemistry between the female lead and the male lead, and it becomes magical. That chemistry becomes magical. Kilig offers relief. I think it brings a lot of relief to the viewers, and it brings you to a place where you imagine the beautiful things in life, even for 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. When you first became an actress in the 70s, Mike De Leon's Itim, the magazines were portraying you as a nice girl, but also too intelligent, too confident, at masyadong mataas ang standards. How did you navigate those labels, and did it affect the way that you chose your roles?
I'm not sure about the too confident, kasi I was a very, very insecure provincial lass, because I grew up in the province, and yeah, that was my first opportunity to act in the movies. I just didn't show it. Maybe I handled it with grace, but grace doesn't mean perfection. So I just knew how to handle my fears. But just like any newbie in the industry, oh my God, nakakatakot. And working with veterans, and I didn't have any acting experience in cinema. Of course, I had my stage experience in my teen years, pero iba na yung big screen eh. It was very intuitive on my part. I just followed my emotions, understood the motivations of my characters, and understood the context of the setting of the narrative. And you use this. I mean, to connect the dots.
It's almost like a survival instinct, would you say?
Yes, and listening to what your gut tells you. Yeah.
Okay.
Listening to, and not being afraid to ask questions. Just go where the river brings you, just go with the flow. But I was very unsure. I was very unsure of myself. Maybe it helped also that I was working with true professionals who didn't make me feel that I am a lesser mortal than any one of them. Yeah, and Mike De Leon, my director, was very supportive. And Itim is a small film. My roots, my beginnings are independent cinema. I was never a product of the big studios. But the irony of it is when I went to the mainstream, part of entertainment, I became the head of a big studio. So I guess the learnings from my beginnings from independent cinema, and my training also in my 2 years with Mother Lily, the late Mother Lily of Regal Films, brought about a balance, di ba? A balance between commercialism and artistry. Yeah.
Do you believe in this dichotomy between mainstream cinema and independent cinema today? Kasi, since you made your comeback in 2016, you've been working a lot of smaller productions. And
Yes.
especially now, the mainstream indie line is getting more blurred.
Yes.
So how do you make sense of this idea of the mainstream versus independent cinema in the Philippines today?
With independent cinema, I think independent cinema is really more about the voice of the author, the voice of the director. Mainstream cinema is really more about, a big studio type of setting where there are business objectives to be met, where you have thousands of employees you have to feed. Independent cinema is on a per project basis. So after one film, you can go to town and fulfill your vision as a creator. And yes, of course, go ahead. That's great, no? But you're only thinking of one project. In a big studio setup, it's like a factory. You have to come out with 10 to a dozen films. You have employees who are dependent on the production outfit for livelihood. And so you want to make sure, as head of a big studio, that you're able to bring in the profits to sustain the business, that you're very clear about your business objectives. So, but it's not mutually exclusive. You can be in mainstream and still come out with quality films. You can be in independent cinema and still engage with the audience. Independent cinema, I really hope and pray, can widen its reach to a bigger audience, because they do things differently. The messaging or the execution is different from mainstream. Yeah. So I think one day we will find that balance. One day and you see a lot of good work coming out lately, given also the opportunities of the existence of different platforms. Parang ngayon, wala na masyadong hindrance eh. If you have a great idea, you know who you want to talk to, there's a platform for you. Yeah. Unlike before, it was just cinema or television. Now you have the digital platform and you can do anything and everything, and you have a global audience. You can, it's not just about the Filipino audience. You can reach other audiences in other parts of the world. So these are exciting times for content people, for creators. Yes. Yeah, I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too.
I am
I'm
excited for you
everyone.
guys. And look at me, a grandmother who is still discovering and learning how the digital platform works. I went into social media. I'm now doing TikTok. It's the comments that I'm hearing are very affirming. I think my content is engaging a new set of audience. The Gen Zs. the Gen Zs, yeah. And I'm having fun. I'm having fun, really. And I want to be able to also send across a message to everyone that, hey, it's not scary. It's non-threatening.
We'll get to social media in a bit.
Okay. Nagmadali ba ako? Napunta na. Kasi excited eh, no? Excited eh.
I love
Oo.
that. I actually want to know what drew you to the production side of cinema, because you were an actress first,
Yeah.
and then you became a producer. So you were taking classes with Doy Del Mundo. You wrote your thesis on Maynila.
Yes.
So what drew you to the production side of cinema?
Well, first of all, I finished communication arts in St. Paul College University. Yeah, I cross-enrolled in De La Salle for a film course under Professor Dr. Doy Del Mundo. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a product of independent cinema. I don't belong to any studio, and therefore I'm not assured of any continuous projects, right? So, sabi ko, I want to do something more stable for my future. I wanted to do something more steady. It could pay less, but it's something more steady. And so after 5 years of acting, I told myself, I think I want to try production. In the 5 years that I have been acting, I would be observing the way my producers would run the show. I would ask questions, and I guess I had that courage to step up to the plate and say, I can do the same. And this is something more stable. This is something more steady. So it's still the world of entertainment, but now I'm behind the scenes. I'm organizing things. I'm good at that. Yeah, quite efficient. Yeah, and you're running a small team, so you have to know how to deal with people, with everyone, from the most important star to the utility boy. So, yeah, I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed acting. And when I went into production and it brought me to the world of broadcast after line producing Himala, Oro Plata Mata, and a lot of the action pictures, my training in production was the one that helped me adjust to a corporate setting, which was my role in ABS-CBN.
Okay. Did you have a vision when you were producer at Star Cinema of what you wanted to bring to the table? And do you feel like by the end of your tenure in ABS, you had accomplished those?
I really wanted to tell good stories.
Okay.
Yeah, in whatever form and structure. Yeah.
I love that simple answer.
Yeah.
That's really good. I guess one of the more memorable parts of your career was when you returned to the big screen for Ang Babaeng Humayo
Yeah.
in 2016. And it had been 17 years
Yes.
since Esperanza in 1999. So what was it about that comeback that made you feel like this was the time to do it?
I was just drawn to the material. Love Diaz asked me if I wanted to go back to acting. And I just told him, yeah, why not? Just send me the synopsis. So he did. And after reading the synopsis, I said yes right away. So I didn't overthink things.
Was it
My heart leapt, and thought that this was a good project.
Was it intentional to be, I guess, to have that hiatus for such a long period of time?
Yes, that was intentional because I didn't want to be in a position of where there's conflict of interest. I was head of a production studio. I should not be competing with our talents. Yeah.
But while you were, I guess, in this corporate job, did you daydream of acting again, or were you really consumed by your work?
I was consumed by my work. I really put acting aside. I did not think of it. I did not look for it. I was just so consumed with my work in ABS-CBN. No time to think about acting. Yeah. I was like thinking of career pathing for all our talents, but not for me. Yeah.
How would you describe your style as an actress versus as a producer? And where do those styles and skill sets intersect for you?
I prepare. I really prepare for a role. I prepare for the work that I do. I'm very conscientious and I work hard. I give it my all. I'm very, very passionate about what I do. There's nothing halfway about me. So whether I'm acting or whether I'm doing things behind the scenes, it's the same kind of passion that I give my work. Yeah. Very committed, very hardworking, very focused. I know there's no such thing as perfection, but I tell everyone, please give your audience perfection. Yeah, so that's it.
I want to give a devil's advocate question, which is, I guess, reflecting on your life and how hard you work. Did you ever feel like you were a workaholic, or did that ever get in the way in the work that you did? Because being in your position there's high stakes. So did you ever have that sense of doubt or that sense of, I guess, this is a bit much?
Oh, yeah. Many times I tried resigning. They go through that.
Yeah.
When you feel burnout and you say, in fact, my former boss used to say, ayun nako, malapit na ang September, magre-resign na naman si Charo. I think every year, every September, because I've worked so hard from January to August, burnout na ako, and then, my God, just thinking of the last quarter, di ba, all the holidays and all the Christmas specials that we would produce. Pag September, nagbe-breakdown na ako, gusto ko na mag-resign, until I grew up. And I stopped. I just stopped saying I want to resign. You know, everyone grows up. And you accept what is, di ba? Warts and all the challenges, all the tough things that you face with, and even all your failures. And you just say, okay, I'll take charge.
During that time, did you see it as like your dream job, even if you wanted to resign na? Did you ever have that conflict in your mind?
None. I think resigning came from my being tired, just being tired. And in broadcast, you're measured every day by ratings. And so just a drop in ratings means, what am I not doing right? What do I have to do? And this mantra in television that the show must go on. Do you bring in your audience? Do you tell your audience, I'm sorry, I have nothing to show today because nag-away kami ng mami ko, or nagkagalit kami ng boyfriend ko, or hindi natapos yung script, di ba? No eh. You know, you have that responsibility to come out with a show the moment television signs on until it signs off. So life never stops. When you go home, you're thinking about your shows. You go home, you're thinking about the mistakes you made today. You go home, you're thinking about what you're going to do 2-3 months from now for the Christmas special. It never ends. So it becomes part of your whole being. And I think you grow up when you start integrating that in your being, that, yeah, this is part of my job. This is part of work. Why am I complaining? Why am I even complaining? Right? So you just have to know how to handle yourself, and you say, okay, I'll breathe. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, life goes on. Let's go.
Love that.
See? You never stop. But that's about life. That's living. You can say, okay, I'm burnout. Okay, honor that feeling. I'm burnout. Okay, take a break for an hour. After that, move on. Hindi pwedeng, ay, ang hirap nito. Ayoko na.
Napakaganda ng acting mo naman. Ang galing at convincing. I hard relate.
Ang hirap-hirap nito, di ba?
You manifest also what you
Yeah,
bring out.
yeah.
So
Whereas, eventually, when you grow up, you learn to detach yourself emotionally from the problems at work. You see? Kasi you become emotional because you're in it. But when you detach yourself and you look at the problems or the situation as a case study, where you don't know the people, but you know the issue, you know the problem, iba ang handling mo.
ganda nun.
You will be so focused at solving the problem.
Feel
Because
like I needed to hear that today.
because it's not about you, and it's not about the person you're working with. You're seeing them as actors on stage. Di ba when you're watching, you get immersed, but you don't have a relationship. You're appreciating the characters and the motivations of the characters. They're acting, but hindi ikaw. Hindi ka, you see? So detach. Learn to detach.
Like that.
Detachment does not mean don't feel. Empathy is very important in leading people. But make sure you have the objective analysis first of the problem and the solution. See? Sa Pilipino kasi, hindi ko alam kung sa Pilipino, baka mali yung sinabi ko. Sa atin kasi minsan nauuna yung, ay, baka umiyak siya. Ay, baka masaktan siya. Ay, baka mag-walk out yan. Ay, fragile yan. Wag muna. Kasi, ay, sandali lang. Hindi pwede. We have some work to do.
It's a motto in life, I feel like.
We have some
Yeah.
work to do. What are the results?
Okay.
Get me the results.
I want to zoom out and zoom out on those feelings and talk about, I guess, what those day-to-day decisions look like in a grander scale. Because in the Philippines, we have our own version of, I guess, like network wars. So, you know, in the States, you have like Fox News,
Yes.
Newsmax.
Yes.
When you were working in ABS-CBN, how did you guys think about the network wars between the different networks in the Philippines? And what was in everyone's minds when you had to make those high stake decisions every day?
Competition is always good, as we all know it, no? Because it drives everyone to come out with excellent results. You know, you give it your best, and it's, I don't know, but it feels good to have the energy of a winner, of wanting to win, di ba? I know that's a good motivation, di ba? Pero having competition also, when you take it too seriously, can you can lose sight. You can lose sight of your goals and objectives because you're too focused. You're too focused on the competition, and sometimes it can eat you up alive. And that's when the irony of it is, when you're too focused, that's when you lose sight of your goals, of what's best for your organization. So, yeah. During my time, there was a period where we lost our ranking in Metro Manila, in Mega Manila. We panicked. We panicked. Kung ano yung ginagawa ng competition, ay, gagawin din namin yan. Pero you may not, I mean, you may not be good at what they're doing. Di ba? Because you have your forte. Alam mo yung galing mo eh. So that was a lesson learned for me and the rest of the organization. Focus on what you're good at. Huwag kang tingin ng tingin sa kapitbahay mo. Magaling sila sa ibang bagay. Ikaw magaling ka rin sa ibang bagay. Focus on what you're good at. And that's when we got our bearings again. Yeah, that's when they started doing fantasy series. Kami talaga real life dramas kami. Mas Oo, yeah. So, competition can also make one panic and you lose sight of your objectives. Yeah.
I want to talk about, I guess, 2020, which was a very pivotal time for ABS with the franchise hearings. What was running through your mind? What was your initial reaction when that was unfolding?
Well, I had already retired as CEO of ABS-CBN, and so I was not really close to the trees as far as the day-to-day decision making was concerned. So I was like an observer, an outsider as well, no. But it was very, very painful for me because I helped build the organization, you know. I gave it my all, and slowly you see it, you know, crumbling down. Masakit. Masakit. Yeah. Too painful that, you know, to the point of being catatonic, the pain was numbing. Yeah. Yeah. And I should say for a while, it really, I isolated myself. I isolated myself from practically everything, yeah, from the world. Yeah.
Did you expect that it would happen?
No, never. Never.
Okay. It's been 5 years now since that happened. As an observer and as someone who has been part of that world, what do you feel like is needed for ABS to rebuild itself in the way that it was prior to everything?
Well, our CEO says that ABS is not really looking at reacquiring franchise. The frequencies have all been given out to other groups. For as long as ABS stays focused on creating the best content, I think in time there will be an opportunity there for a more secure platform for the content. Because right now, we're seen in our products are seen in different stations, right? And then I see ABS-CBN also doing good in the digital platform. So they launched I Want TV, and our content is being consumed by Filipinos from other parts of the world. No? And I think when broadband becomes more affordable to the Filipinos, ABS-CBN, as far as content is concerned, will still be ahead of the game.
Okay. Interesting that we're talking about content. I don't know if that was the case when, maybe in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, whether they would talk about anything that we watch, anything we consume as content, because content now means something completely different from when we were growing up to television and cinema. And I know you're on TikTok, you're on social media. So
Yeah.
I guess being on that platform, on the new platforms today in 2025, how you, as a former studio executive, made sense of the content that is being pushed out today, not just in cinema, not just in TV, but in social media as well.
Yeah. What did I discover as I went into it? That's how you continuously engage your audience, because your audience is already on the digital platforms.
What does it serve you?
I want to be able to still tell stories, give out my messages in whatever form. It doesn't matter. Now it doesn't matter. It doesn't have the long form like it used to be. Now it can be a 30-seconder, and you can give out your message. Yeah.
Are you romantic for the older format still?
Oh yeah, I will always be in love with the older formats. Yeah. That's where I discovered my passion for content, and I will always be in love with cinema, with drama anthologies, with a great musical variety, with a great comedy, even exciting game shows, reality shows. It doesn't matter. I am a consumer of content, and I will consume content until I die.
I love that. I love that so much. That's such a good line.
Yeah.
I think people don't want to admit that, but I feel the same way.
Yeah, di ba?
It's
Parang in
inspirational.
whatever form or shape, format, structure, linear, non-linear, 30 seconds, even a 2 seconds of a wink, says something. A smile. How do you smile? There are different, the expression on your face says something. A photograph says something.
You've worked with some of the best directors, producers, talent in the cinema industry, film industry. How do you view this new generation of Filipino filmmakers, and what sort of creative energy do you see from them that it might be different from, the second golden era of Philippine cinema in the 80s and onwards?
I think this younger generation will be more daring, if not, more daring, because you don't have the business objectives of a big studio, right? You can follow your heart. You can say whatever you want to say in whatever form you want to say it, and the platforms are available. So I'm looking forward to seeing more exciting content that sometimes you think will break the rules, but create the next rules. See, create the way, it could redefine the way the next storytelling structure will go. There are no rules here. So the content creators of this generation will create your own rules. Of course, at the end of the day, ako to ha, I look for stories that engage, that engage me. I look for stories that make me reflect about life, that leaves a lesson or two. That's me. I mean, I go for the exciting part, the thrilling part, and all that stuff, but I want to take away some lesson or two.
Okay.
But tell me the way you want to tell me. That's your call.
Okay. On that note, I guess, what stories do you feel like you want to explore more? I know that's a very almost simplistic, crude question, but for me, I feel like there are ways of approaching stories that speak to my heart but haven't been done yet, or a feeling that hasn't been tapped for you yet. What do you feel like is sort of that next? Like I described, there was a fork on the road in my career, and I chose something that I felt like was gonna give a feeling that I hadn't felt yet. For you, do you know what that is?
Right now, if you ask me, no. I'm just having fun doing my TikTok. Maybe I've reached the stage where I just want to have fun. You're in a different stage. And
I am.
and yeah, and it's okay. Yeah, continue to dream. Yeah, I've been there, done that. But I continue to explore. I continue to stay curious. But to overthink of where I want to go, I'm not there. I'm enjoying the moment.
Charo, thank you so much for a lovely conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.